stay in
Yes,
the
ma'am.
beginning?
Here, I'll start you off.
Okay.
So just go ahead and just what's your name?
Annie Ruth Pratt Lowe.
Anna Ruth Hatlow.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's good. So like, what does your name come from? Like, are you named after? You don't know?
Nope, I don't know where and who I'm named after. It wasn't my mom and none of my aunts that I knew. I don't know where my name came from.
Okay. Well, you think you just tell me your life story, and I'll ask questions, but I'll
Well,
just give you the floor, I guess.
I was born in Madison,
Hmm.
and when I was 4 years old, we moved to a farm, and then from then on, we worked the farm. We had tobacco, corn, and vegetable gardens, and all that. And at that time, children had some chores they had to do. They had to bring in wood, they had to tote in water, they had to get all that up done before they turned in for the night. So the fire would be burning. My daddy had an old wood stove, and he put that wood in it that we brought in, but he'd have to cut it. We we put the wood in the stove, we bring it in and lay it behind the stove, and there he would keep fire in it all night. And so the next morning, when we all waked up, we didn't have very much. We had a piece of fatback meat to eat for breakfast. A piece, y'all go, don't start me to laugh. We all had Mama didn't cook but a piece of fatback meat around. It was five of us. She cooked all five of us a piece of fatback meat, and her and Daddy a piece. So we had for breakfast maybe uh, Karo syrup or King syrup. And when some mornings we just only had some cornbread to eat with that. Didn't have wheat bread every day. And then we'd have to walk to school. We never rode a bus when we was growing up to school. Not until the very last later years. We had to walk to school. Maybe it might have been maybe about 4 or 5 miles. We get up and walk to school in the morning and walk back to school in the evening. So by the time we got from school, you'd have to start our chores, like bringing in water and doing stuff like that, toting in wood. Then we had this tank. See, it wasn't no hot water heaters then that we knew about. We had this tank on the back end of the cook stove. It maybe been about this wide and about this deep. We'd have to see that that tank was full of water before we went to bed because we had to take a bath in a number two tub. You've seen those tubs.
Yes, ma'am.
Take a bath in the tub before we went to bed. But we had to have this water in that stove, and that stove heated the water. Like you got hot water from a liquid stove now. When you had a fire in that stove, it would heat the water in that tank because it had a tank on it about this wide and about this deep. And we all took a bath. We had to have, well, we couldn't use much water, just kind of little shallow water. All of us took a bath, and then we go to bed. And then when we got up the next morning, we may have had a little something to do before we went to school. We did that, and then we had to turn and walk to school and walk back in the evening. When we got back in the evening, we had some more work to do. So we was never that working when we was growing up. Didn't have no leisure time. That way on Sunday. And on Sunday when other older folks would come to our house, my daddy didn't let us sit up and talk with them like people don't pay attention now when grown folks come, children's in there where they're at, and if they start telling something, sometimes the child will take away from them and tell it. We couldn't do that. And when the older folks came in to visit my dad and mom on Sunday, most of the time they'd eat dinner, and we had to stand around and wait till they got through eating. But now we didn't want to let us be in the kitchen looking over the table. Because when all these old folks came in, my daddy would just look at us. He'd say, we knew what that meant. We had to get up and go to another room or go outside. And Dad would eat and had some brown paper bags. You've seen the brown paper bags.
Yes, ma'am.
They'd sit there and roll cigarettes with that on brown paper.
Oh.
He'd get some old tobacco what they had grown and roll a cigarette with that and smoke it and sit there and talk. And we would want them to hurry up and go home so bad so we could go to the table and eat. But we couldn't come in the kitchen. They wouldn't allow us to come in the kitchen. So we would, sometime if Daddy wasn't looking, we sort of peep in there, making like we just walking by to get a drink of water or something. But he never did let us come and get around where old folks was at and get in their conversation. That's the difference in kids now. You know, the kid, you just get in there now and you start telling something, he'll take away from you, tell it. We're going to do it. My daddy would, and we knew what that meant.
Mm-hmm.
So we get on out of there. But, you know, we thought that was good. But I reckon it might have been because it helped raise us to learn different things about how life is. But we didn't know, we have no television. We had a battery radio. And if the battery did, you couldn't hear nothing on it. Mm-hmm. And if the battery one did, we could plug it up and listen to the radio. But as if nobody wasn't there. And I remember when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. When I was a kid, that's when they done it, in 1941. That's when they bombed Pearl Harbor. The Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. Hey, Michael. And yeah, we was listening to something on the radio, and love you. And whenever that happened, they stopped, with the radio and just told about that, and they told about that the rest of the day. And this was 1941. And me and Nita was thinking yesterday, we finally got the date of Martin Luther King. That was 1968 when he was killed. But other than that, we had a pretty good life, but we had something to do all the time. You ain't got nothing to do now, but we had something to do. Like they raised tobacco and they got it all off the field. We have to take a hoe and go out there and cut those stubbles down after they took the tobacco off the field. We had a lot of things to do. And I just think they was wanting us to do something. Anyway, it's good they had something for us to do all the time. And my daddy used to cut wood. And when he cut it with an axe, it made some chips about this big. Have you seen somebody cut with an axe and it makes chips? Yes, a saw don't do nothing but throw back sawdust. Yes, the axe would throw up chips. We'd have to go out there, get them, bring them in the house, and when the fire wasn't half burning, open up the stove and pour them on top of that wood to make the fire hot. We had something all the time to do. We never like doing something.
It was never a dull moment.
No, it was never a dull moment, but we was hoping it would. And then when Christmas comes, we would be so happy. Oh, we was happy when Christmas comes. And you couldn't do nothing mean. Now my dad would say, well, Santa Claus watching you. If you don't do this, he ain't gonna bring you nothing. If you do that, he ain't gonna bring you nothing. So we was just caught right there caught in the middle. Yeah. So we had to behave ourselves. So I remember one Christmas, well, it hadn't ever Christmas hadn't come, but it was getting pretty close. My daddy, he went, and they had to catch a ride or call a cab or do something to get back and forth, because my daddy never owned a car. Mm-hmm. So we was all there, and her mom was home, and daddy was gone. We didn't know he was going out to do no Christmas shopping. So when he came in, he was about half high. He got on the porch. He had a big sack of oranges about this big up on his shoulder. And so when he meant to put them on the porch, he fell up on the porch with him. And he made that sound. We got that. We did. Mama said, "Y'all stay in yet, babe." We slipped on out there and got the lamp. Took the lamp out of the post, and Daddy was out there just laying back on the post with that sack on. Oh, we got some tickle. We got tickle, but that messed the thing up. See, when you learn it ain't no Santa Claus, you don't have much fun. You just don't have much fun. And he was out there, he got so mad with us for coming out there looking at him. And he was just laying back a half high. I thought to myself, we didn't tell you to get half high and drop the sack on you up on the phone. So we never did. We never was happy at Christmas time after we found out that Santa Claus didn't bring that stuff. I bet y'all was the same way when you found out.
Yes, ma'am.
It ain't good, is it? No more. I wanted something to look forward to.
Well, Mom and Daddy we never believed in Santa Claus.
You didn't?
No, ma'am. From day one.
Y'all didn't have much fun then.
I mean, it was still fun looking forward to getting something.
Yeah.
But as far as like that whole like somebody comes in the house while you sleep and somebody's watching you, we never experienced that.
They told us everything. They said, if you cut up now for Christmas, Santa Claus was watching you and all that stuff. We thought that.
Yeah.
We made sure that, and that kept us on our toes and kept us happy. But after we seen him with that big sack of oranges on the post, done fell up on the post with it, we knew better then. But it just wasn't much fun. It wasn't much fun, but it was really a lot of fun. Because we'd be waiting for Santa Claus to come and all that stuff. We'd be run and jump in the bed before it got late and all that stuff. But after we saw that, we just, all our feathers just dropped. Christmas just wasn't the same anymore. But I tell you what, we had fun before that happened. And they'd always say, all right, if you don't do this and you don't do that, Santa Claus watching you, he ain't gonna bring you nothing. We thought that too. We believed that. And we had, they always told us to come down the chimney.
Mm-hmm.
And at that house, we had a heater. They had a fireplace. I tried to figure this out. I said, if he come down that chimney, he'll come down in that stove because there ain't no way for him to get by. He'll come down in the stove and it'll get burned up. I worried that Christmas. But after that, they dropped that big sack of orange on the foot. I didn't worry no more because I knew there wasn't no such thing. When you find out, it just ain't as good. But it was good for the folk good. Yeah, but really, we all growing up. We didn't have much, but we was happy. We 5 of us growing up together. We didn't have much, but
you appreciated what you
had. We learned how to appreciate what we had. Cause now people has a closet just running over with shoes.
Mm-hmm.
We had one pair of shoes a year, and then when it wore out, they would take a piece of cardboard and cut it out like the shoe, cut it out the shape of the shoe, and put it in there so your foot wouldn't get wet. We didn't have no whole lot of shoes to wear. Now got shoes that just running out the closet. And then back, I think it was 1945, somewhere in there. Anyhow, a war was on. It was wartime. War was on. Because my dad had went to go in the army, and they put him in 4F. When they put you in 4F, you get to come back home. Because it was 5 of us. Even when they weren't taking the men that had small kids, they sent him back home. And what they done, they put ration. They rationed the sugar and the kerosene oil and the shoes. And if you didn't have a stamp in your book, it's kind of like people who's getting food stamps now. Right. We had stamps to get shoes and oil and kerosene, things that people really need. Right. And if you bought a pair of shoes out, before that time come in for you to get another pair with that shoe stamp, you wouldn't get nothing. Dad would sit down and work. He had a thing what they call a shoelace, and he'd sit down there and put that shoe on it and tacks all around it, tack the sole back on it after you legged it off. You know how the shoe has sole come off of shoe.
Yes, ma'am.
He'll sit out there and put tacks in it all around and fix that shoe. Boy, come up on the rough side of the mountain, but I'm still here. It's but showed up. It's just unbelievable for you to tell the younger people. They don't see what how in the world is that. How did you do that? Done what you had to do. If that paper wore out in the bottom of that shoe, you put another piece of paper in there so your foot to stay dry until that stamp come in for that month where you could get another pair of shoes. You couldn't get shoes without that stamp. You couldn't get sugar. You couldn't get shoes, sugar, and kerosene was 3 things that you could not get without that stamp.
Wow. That's crazy because I can just I go to the store today get a pair of shoes if I wanted to.
Yeah,
any day.
Yeah, but I couldn't. I was maybe about 10, 11 years old when that was going on. No, if I had the money, I couldn't have got the shoes without the stamp. They wouldn't let you sell it. Wouldn't sell them to you. You'd have that stamp. Have to have that stamp for that particular month. And if you didn't have it, your shoes would have to be put on that shoelace and tack all the way around with that hammer. Put a sole on it. That's what Dad would fix them. But today, we had some ugly old clothes to wear back in the day. You couldn't get nothing without that stamp. No kerosene oil to burn the lamp with, and no sugar, and no shoes. You couldn't get that. I think fatback meat, I think you could get that. My daddy raised hogs, but then he would give out from one time to the other time to kill them. And you'd have to have that meat, a strip of fatback meat.
You didn't like it?
I had to like it.
Oh.
I had to like it. Yeah. And my mama would can stuff. That's where I learned how to can. She would can peaches and apples. Anything she could get her hands on, she can. But she just couldn't make tomatoes keep. She couldn't can. They wouldn't keep. You'd put them in the jar and be laying in the bed. You hear something say, "Kapow!" It'd bust the thing wide open. She never did learn. Yeah. When they get the boiling in there and sour, it'll bust the jar wide open.
Oh.
I don't know why she never did learn how to can tomatoes. I can do it.
How do you can? What do you do when you can something?
What? Like tomatoes or
anything? How do you can
now,
something?
taking, for instance, green beans. I go to the vine and pick them, bring them home, wash them good, and put them in a pot. Mostly I do them outside. Put them in the cooker outside. Well, I put sugar in them, a little cup of sugar, and a half a cup of salt, if I have about that much in a deep pot, and maybe a cup of vinegar. I let them boil in there, take them out, put them in the jar. That's it. And that's all you do with green beans. And Mama canned a lot of berries, and they was plentiful then. We could go out to the vine if we was hungry that morning. We'd go out to the vine and pick some. See, we wasn't in school when berry ripening time we was out of school. Go out to the vine and pick our breakfast and bring it back. And Mama cooked berries and have just plain bread to eat with them. But I done been hungry in my lifetime. Real hungry. Go in the kitchen, you look around, ain't nothing in there to eat. But now they'll go in the kitchen, look around, if ain't something they want to eat, they want to eat. I didn't have that choice. Like I said, I come up on the rough side of the mountain. All 5 of us had. Well, my brother, I had another brother that he was 13 years old. And my daddy lived on this man's farm. And this man wanted my brother to go with him to Reedsville, but to do some help him unload something. My brother was 13 years old, and he wanted to ride on the back of the truck. He tried to get him to get inside. He wanted to ride on the back of the truck. And between here and Wentworth, he fell off of it. He never did get over it. That was my oldest brother. He killed him. Well, he lived a day or so. Then he died when he was 13. And my youngest sister, Jane, she was born the next month after my brother died. So it was always 5 of us. Yeah, then I had one brother that was between sister and me, but he was stillborn. In all, us was 7 of us and all, but he was stillborn, the one between sister and me. But the one that fell off the truck, he was older than sister over there. He was the oldest one ever. But we had some good times then. I say we had some bad times. It's no sense that we had some hills to climb. But we got over. We got over. But you know what the thing of it was? Oh, the family over there couldn't laugh at this family. They ain't have nothing either. None of us all around in the community working on another man's place. They didn't have nothing either. None of us didn't have nothing. But the Grocker rolled up, and then Cliff, he built that house little over where Sam lived. Yes, he bought that spot and built that house. It didn't have but 2 rooms when he built it. And then maybe 5 or 6 years after he built that, he bought this one over here, and we moved over here. But we did live over where Sam lived at. When the house was 2 rooms, but Sam done put a whole lot to it since. Yeah. But like I said.
Wait, is Sam your brother?
Sam was Cliff's brother.
Oh, so he's your uncle?
No, he's my brother-in-law.
Brother-in-law.
Yeah,
Cliff's your husband.
Yeah, my brother lives in Ohio.
Ohio?
I got one brother. He lives in Ohio. Yeah. And like I told you, my oldest brother, he fell off that truck and he didn't live.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's been 70-some years ago. Because my sister, my youngest sister, is 72. She'll be 73 in August. And it was about 4 or 5 weeks before she was born. Yeah. Like I said, it was always 5 of us. Cause it wasn't about, I'll say it wasn't quite a month before she was born after my brother died.
Well, let's see. Got another question. Okay, you was talking about a war that y'all were, you say y'all were listening to the war, but like it was just wartime.
Listening on the battery radio.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. So like what was on the battery radio? Like what was being said about the war?
It was telling about the war, about the Japanese when they bombed Pearl Harbor and all, yes, all that stuff. When they dropped that megaton bomb, they told about that. I think that was back in 1945. It was, you could hear it as if the battery one did on the radio. But see, we hadn't got no radio you could plug in the wall. It was run off a battery.
It's a battery.
When the battery died, you ain't hearing nothing.
I guess I don't have any other questions.
I don't think y'all would want to be in back in the day. Yeah, but I tell you, we didn't know it was bad. But when you look at it now, it was bad. You couldn't get no shoes that you had a stamp. You couldn't get no sugar that you had a stamp. It was just.
So you didn't, in that time, you didn't know how big of a struggle that was.
No, we thought that.
You thought it was fine.
Yeah, my daddy would go to Winston and sell tobacco, and we lived good back when it was tobacco selling time.
That's right.
And after we got all the tobacco off the fields, he'd take it to Winston and sell it.
So
yeah, he'd bring in candy. Woo, I ate so much that I got sick. He'd bring in them buckets of peanut butter. The buckets about this big around and about this high. Probably about 4 pounds. Now, we would make peanut butter sandwich. They had these box of crackers was about this big then in it. Well, instead of having them little sections like they got now. It had four all the way together.
Yes,
It's
sir.
about that big. Four. It was four in a row attached together. If you could get one of them things and put your peanut butter in and break it and do, you have a good sandwich. I love that stuff in them days, but I don't care too much about it now. Yeah, Mama, she'd make preserves when she could get something to make them out of. Sometimes we eat pretty good, and then sometimes we didn't. It's just the way it was. She knows how to make preserves and things out of different stuff. People don't do that now, but I do every once in a while. I make it. That's where I learned how to make it from her.
Who taught you how to make banana pudding?
I taught myself how to make it. Yeah, I never did see my mama make a banana pudding. Nah, I didn't never see her make it. I taught myself how. Cause I taught myself how to fix a whole lot of things, how to cook different things.
Yes, sir.
Because now growing up from a small child, we just had to eat what we had.
So it wasn't much to watch her cook.
Wasn't much to watch, like beans and potatoes and cabbage and squash and eggplants and stuff like that. But she had plenty of green beans and peas, these sweet peas on the vines and all that stuff. They had them. Mom now they canned the sweet peas in the green beans. Yeah, so we had them for a short time. See, when you don't can them, they don't last. Get them off the vine and eat them. Time to come on the vine. That's what we did then. They had potatoes, fields planted with potatoes in it, peppers, and had a whole lot of stuff planted. Like I said, if they didn't save that stuff, by wintertime you done run out of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you hadn't run out of our potatoes because they get them up out the ground and take and spread them out. Because we had a tobacco barn and spread them out on the floor in there, and they wouldn't even freeze. That's where we done sweet potatoes. We had sweet potatoes like that, and pumpkins. My daddy would have a slide load of pumpkins. We liked that stuff back in the day, but people don't eat that no more. No pumpkins. My daddy we'd get up a slide load of, we go in there and help him pull them off the vine. Go there, they was down in the bottom. We'd go down there and help him get them up off the vine. They'd have a whole load. People would come in from far and near and get them pumpkins and eat. People eat them then. People don't fool with no pumpkins no more.
I don't think I've ever ate a pumpkin.
That was good because we ain't had nothing there.
Yeah.
When you ain't got nothing there to eat, you might eat a little something. But that's how come I want to eat oatmeal now. Mom used to cook it by the pots full for breakfast. Breakfast with oatmeal. Ew. I hate that. I hate to wash dishes where it's been cooked at. Eat, in
oatmeal?
Yes. Man.
I love oatmeal.
I don't. Neither of them do. They love that old instant oatmeal. Mom didn't have that kind. She had the kind where you boil and cook. That's the kind she had. It was in a jar, a box about that big. Quaker oats.
Quaker.
Mm-hmm. She cooked it by the pot spoon, and that's what we'd eat for breakfast most of the time.
So you just got tired of it?
Yeah, I reckon I did. I reckon I eat all I could stand of it.
Yeah.
When I got grown, I wouldn't eat it. But we sure did eat it when we was growing up, because we didn't have much choice. We had to eat it. I like rice better than I did it. I like rice pretty good. But oatmeal, got nothing for that to do. I spies to wash dishes, but that's been somebody eat out of a plate with it.
Well, you said, so you mentioned winter, and I know you said y'all didn't have electricity. So what was winter like in that time?
Cold, ice, snow, icicles hanging off the porch and around the house about this long. We go out there and mess with her. Mama would say, y'all better get back in here. We would wait till she thought she wasn't looking, slip out there and break them off, come back crying with our hands cold like we done been disobedient. But it don't come to winters like that here no more. It was ice, just plain ice. The ground was just covered with just pure ice. It would be like that every winter. And snow, we ain't had many of them like that It's been a few years. But the whole winter, because we couldn't even go to school. The whole winter would be like that just about. Because we had to walk. We couldn't get on that ice and walk nowhere. They didn't have, we wouldn't have school because it was so much ice on the ground, just pure ice. And then what? Sometime now we had a spring maybe about a foot from here. It was further from here down at that first house. We had to get water for it. And you could get your water out the spring and start up the hill. And before you could get up the hill, you'd be slid up and fell. And the water poured out in the bucket, rolled right back down in the spring. You had to go all the way back down there and get. Woo, Lord, that was a mess. We go home crying because our hands was aching. But we done already played with the ice on the bushes and things. Instead of going there getting the water and trying to get back. We be done fooled around and broke the ice off the trees and fooled with them. And then that bucket would roll back in the spring. Every time you slid up and fell with it, roll all the way back down the hill in the spring. You have to go back down there and get it. Make 2 or 3 trials before you got it to the house. Boy, you'd be good and cold time you get to the house. But we had some real slides to climb, but we made it.
All right, so look, I got one last question for you.
Okay.
And that is like, out of like so far, like long as you've lived, like what is your like biggest, like the one memory that's left the biggest impact on you?
Yeah, I don't know. I got to think about that a while. It's good impact or bad impact?
Either one. And so what is it? What is the most like the most vivid memory that you have?
I'll tell you the vivid memory I had, and it wasn't so good, is from going down there, getting that water taken up the hill, and before I could get home with it, and water pour out and it rolled back in the branch. That was the worst. That was the worst. Yeah. Mama would say, y'all hurry down there and hurry back now. She know it's cold. God, we wouldn't pay no attention to what she said until we got getting cold. Then we go back home crying. She'd get something. She wasn't mean. She'd just get some rags and wrap our hands up till they stop aching. Then if you got about a fire, it'd get worse than that. You know how it is. Yeah. You go in there with your hands aching by the fire, it don't do it but mess you up. Mm-hmm. She'd wrap our hands up after we were so mean and wouldn't hurry down there and back like she told us. But I think that was the worst standoutish thing, going to that spring, toting that water from so far. It was a long ways from the house. I think that's the vividest thing which stands out in my mind. And that just wasn't good at all. I think that stands out worse than anything else.
Well, all right then. Thank you.
Yeah, I hope you can do something with that.
Oh yes, ma'am. That's plenty.